What's up, everybody? My name is Riz. You're watching the Unite Asia podcast. This is the very first episode. So the reason why I want to do this podcast is very simple. It's the same exact reason that I wanted to do the website. UniteAsia.org, I started it about 5+ years ago, and the whole reason and premise of doing it was just because I wanted a place that housed all the information, all the up-to-date news of Asian bands all over Asia. Actually, Asian bands all over the world as the site started to grow. So that's all I wanted to do. It was more of a selfish reason. Like I would go up to like Lamb Goat, Metal Injection, Metal Sucks. And those sites were great. So much information on there. And once in a while, there would be an Asian band or an Asian post. And it's great. It's great that it's up there because their audience is massive, right? Their audience is huge. But what I was noticing was like, it wasn't daily. And I know so many bands in Malaysia, Thailand, Philippines, Taiwan, China, Hong Kong. I know so many bands that have news coming out all the time. And I'm like, how come I don't have access to a website that stores all that information? You know? And so I was like, you know what? Why don't I just start one? Let me just start a website and see what happens. And that's all it was. That's all Unite Asia was. It was just an idea. I was like, well, this is more for selfish reasons. I want information in one place. So bands can just send me all these things, or I can hit up all my friends' bands and tell them to send me information and just store it in one place. And that's all it is. That's all UniteAsia.org was. And it has been. So I did not know it would be as successful as it is. I cannot imagine 28,000 people on Facebook, following the site, checking out the posts. It gets shared all over the world, and it's just so awesome that something I did is something valuable or considered valuable to you guys. So thank you so much for supporting the website. The podcast, similar thing. I was out riding my bike around TKO, the area that I'm living in. And I'm just listening to all these great podcasts from all over the world, right? And it's a similar situation. I'm like, this is great. I love that this American podcast person is interviewing another American band, and there's a lot of diversity in the bands that they choose, and so the content is interesting. I was like, why can't I have a podcast in Asia that also interviews bands from right here? Similar concept as the United Asia website. So that's when I realized, I was like, well, let's just try this podcast and see what happens. So that's the basic premise for me doing this Unite Asia podcast. So I hope you enjoy it. It will be weekly. The main features in the podcast, as I just mentioned, is interviews. So I'll be interviewing guests from all over Asia where we can really sit down and kind of get into some good content and some good information and background to what their own obstacles might have been for running their band or project or whatever it is that they're working on. You can really get into it, so hopefully through their story, you can be inspired. You can kind of see yourself in that situation and go, oh, wow, that was really tough for that person. I've got a lot of things that are pretty hard for me. And if that person was able to just get through it and create this amazing thing, whether it's a band, whether it's a website, or whatever it is, whatever project that they're working on, hopefully when you hear the background, you hear the story, you're inspired to continue to work on whatever you are working on. Okay? So that's it. That's your whole story. That's what this whole thing is all about. This is the very first episode, and I hope you enjoy it. Here we go, folks. I get to introduce the very first guest of the very first episode of the Unite Asia podcast. It's my good friend N of Malaysian hardcore band Second Combat. This guy is an inspiration to myself and to everybody that knows him, especially when you take the time to hear about his story and his journey and all the things that he has done. Not only is he a vocalist for an incredible band, Second Combat, but he's also taken his love and passion for activism and for community support and taken it from the stage of, of a hardcore show to the stage of an actual activist, where he's a community organizer through an incredible organization called Drug Free Malaysia. So today what we'll do is we'll get into all of that. We'll talk about his history, how he got into hardcore punk as a kid in Malaysia, how he started Second Combat, and then more importantly, how he got into Drug Free Malaysia, impacting and influencing and changing the lives of hundreds of thousands of people in Malaysia. All right, hope you enjoyed this episode. Thanks for watching. Yeah! my friends, this is a really huge honor for me, myself. I have my amazing friend and of Second Combat in Malaysia right here. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, very good. Pretty awesome so far, and feeling very lucky to meet you again. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is the only set that we can meet each other, right? Because of this coronavirus crap. How's everything in
Yeah.
Malaysia?
It's so far the government has been doing great. I mean, the new government lah, and it's kind of scary. Also, a lot of people died because of it, and we just need to keep ourselves aware and keep ourselves safe, social distancing, and keeping the what we call the SOPs and stuff. So that's what we do now.
All right, and I mean, the whole reason why I chose for you to be the very first person is because you have such an interesting story. And I mean, I've known you for 20 plus years. So, I mean, I have a personal connection to you. I consider you a brother. So
Yeah.
I just want to know if we can just give this audience, because what I've noticed about Unite Asia is our audience is all over the world. It's not necessarily just from Malaysia or just from Hong Kong. It's from everywhere. So let's start with your story from the very beginning. Like, how does a kid in Kuala Lumpur get into hardcore?
I started with skateboarding. When I was like 14 years old, I look up into magazines like Treasure Magazine, Red, Slap, and all those skateboard magazine that have music sections and stuff. So I really love skateboarding, and I wanted to be a skateboarder before I wanted to become a hardcore kid. So, but then it influenced me to become a musician. By that time, it was not minor threat. It was like the Sex Pistols. It was like Sham 69, the Ramones, and stuff like that. Also, the mainstream punk rock band were like all over our mainstream media. It's like Green Day, Offspring. It was all over the TV. So I dig around that when I was like 14 or 15 years old. The movement or the style is very cool and very appealing. So I wanted to blend in and wanted to be part of it. So I told my friends saying that, hey, I wanted to be, like punk rock and, playing skateboard and stuff. So at the same time, I also dig a lot of fanzine by that time. So I was seeing our underground scene where like everyone was doing music thing. Like some of them are writing fanzine, some of them are making music. When I was 16 years old, I started to write to overseas when I saw all the addresses in the Maximum Rock and Roll or High Attack, something like that. So I started to write people to send their magazines, send some pictures and some what called CDs and tips and stuff like that for me to listen to. And from there, I make friends all over the world. So I made network at the age of 17 or 16 or 17.
But when you were 14 or 15 and you're talking about those thrasher, the music that you were picking up from the zines, you said Sex Pistols and Sham 69. So do you know around what year you're talking about when you were 14?
It was like 94.
94.
94, 93, 94. And I go to gigs. So my first gigs I was 14 years old, really small kid, going to shows. And it was a good experience at first. And then I really love all the punk bands, skinhead bands and stuff like that. So I tried to dress like the Sex Pistol. I got my hair red, I blonde my hair, colored my hair red. I got my boots. I wear Sex Pistols t-shirt. Like wow, everyone's like scared. Wow, this kid become like a rebel person, with red hair, with the mohawk and stuff like that.
I wish. Yeah. Do you have any photos? If you have any photos, you gotta drop me some photos, dude. With a mohawk. Oh my God, that's crazy.
When I found about Minor Threat, so I did not find Minor Threat song in the Minor Threat album, but I found a band which covered Minor Threat. The band covered I Don't Want to Hear It. I dig that song until I found who is Minor Threat. So the band covered the Minor Threat, so I started to search for Minor Threat, and from that album, so I found Discord Records. So from that Discord record, I fall in love with the hardcore. So and then I started to dig all the Discord band.
That's
the
awesome, man. I like how you summarized your whole life in a few minutes.
Yeah.
But and let's talk
it.
about. There's two things you mentioned just now that I just want to kind of dig deeper. One, it sounds like when you were getting into all this, it sounds like there already was a scene in Malaysia. Is that true?
Yeah. There was a scene in Malaysia. I think it started in 1986 or something like that. We have a big punk and underground scene, which is I think most majority of the underground scene are metal. On the time it's like black metal, dark metal, death metal, stuff like that. But only a few punk bands. So which is I think the first of the underground band was like which is become famous, which is Cabaret Tedang. Cabaret Tedang is like our senior, and so he inspired a lot of punk bands in Malaysia. Also, they started earlier, and they also Jokid, which is the vocalist. Jokid is not vocalist; he's the guitarist. He also have fanzine, which is distributed all over Malaysia, which is the fanzine is called ADs. At one point in 1993, 1994, there's a channel of television which is hosted by Jokid itself, called something alternative TV, something like that. So
what, he was on TV?
Yeah, he's on TV.
Wow, Jokid, huh?
Yeah, he was a host for TV. So we mostly people like us, the underground kid, which is the school kid. You know, we dig a lot of new local band through that TV channel, TV series called the Alternative Rock Show, something like that. And also there's one mainstream radio, which is they always played hardcore punk band. A lot of I know Bad Brains, I know Government Issues, I know Angry Someone's from radio. It's not I found it on tape or CD. It always like I have to wait around midnight. They play all the underground band on midnight, like 12 a.m. So we all waited with our tapes and what we call the radio.
The boombox,
So
man, the old boombox.
So we wait for the song which is we like, and then we record to the button of the radio and push it and have it on tape. Like I told you, Angry Someone's, Descendants, the Money Track will always play on radio on the time. It was 93, 94. So that's why it was a booming hardcore punk in the Malaysian scene. So that's why, you know, lots of my friends also got into punk because we got the information from mainstream media on that time.
I mean, that to me is crazy because, you know, I mean, in Hong Kong, we still don't have a hardcore scene. We still don't have a real punk scene. I mean, there are some kids here that love it, but we have to dig for it ourselves, you know? You have a radio station in Malaysia at midnight playing. That's amazing. And you got Joe Kidd, like a local Malaysian guy on TV promoting hardcore and punk rock at 93. That's amazing.
93. Yeah, that's right. At the time I was a school kid, so I was really, you know, into it. I dig the punk rock because of this, and because it's easy to get everything on mainstream also.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really exciting to understand the history of the Malaysian hardcore scene, you know, because for me in my brain, like I'm like, yeah, I know that Joe Kidd was early on, but I didn't know it was 86 and 87. Like I didn't know it was that far back.
It's really not that accurate, but I approximately on that year.
Okay.
So the first punk rock scene were born. Yeah.
Wow.
But
I mean, and
Singapore are more earlier than us.
Yeah, that's right. Right. Singapore was one of the. Singapore was one of the first.
The Lion City hardcore was ahead of us, and also Indonesian also ahead of us. So we just like starting up on that time.
But can I ask, so when you're talking about even the Singapore and the Indonesian scene before you guys, do you remember like when you were getting into it, did you already know there were bands in Singapore? There was a scene in Indonesia?
Yeah. There's there are we found it in zines and also through friends. So we found out that the stomping ground were like in the 89 or 88 before us. So it was earlier than that. So they had a scene before that. Yeah.
That's amazing, man. It's so amazing. Now, the other thing you said earlier that really caught my attention was, like you said, how you naturally were going towards more of the rebellious, like anti-society way, and you were looking for anything that was like that. So it makes me wonder, it makes me want to know, like, what was going on in your life at that time that made you want to go look for this? Like, you could have chosen, like, no, I'll just do what my mom and dad want me to do. I'll just go to school. I'll just be the regular Malaysian guy, you know, look for a good job, get married. But you're like, no, I want to find something different. So what was it? Do you remember? What was it about you that made you want to do this?
Yeah, I have this really get into personal things, which is it's about family. And so I found out that most of my friends were into rebelling, and also in my school friends, I have friends who are into gangster, into mafia things, and into drugs. So I got involved. I also get involved, and I get into gangs, and I get into drugs. And I see my best friend were offering me to smoke weed, and we hang out every day. We smoke weed. We hang out. We skip school and stuff. I have my friends who offer me to try drugs and heavy drugs. So at one point he started to use cocaine. So my best friend, he's sitting beside me, and we always go to schools together. And so he said that, oh, you gotta try this. You know, you put it in your nose and start to sniff it. So I did that once only.
Wow. And
then I said that I don't like it. So, but we're still friends. And but after high school, I did not meet him much. And but then he became a drug addict.
Oh. He
became a drug addict. And also, I found out that my brother were into cocaine.
Oh. And your is your brother older than you or younger than you?
The older brother.
Oh, okay.
The older brother. So he got into cocaine. So at one point he becomes so addicted, and he steals stuff from my house. So my house is like, chaotic. He steal the fan. He steal the sofa, the TV. He steal everything. He sell everything at the house. So me and my family have to move out. So actually, me and my mom have to move out from the house and leave him at that house. And he sold everything. At the time, he sold everything. So we have to do something, and we have to call the cops. And the cops took him into jail. He got into jail, and he been to jail at like 8 times. And after 8 times, we say that that's enough lah. So I think we should take him, put him in our place and take care of him, instead of him going out and see his friend. So his friend will took him into, go back into what he did before. So one situation, I found him at one estate in the jungle, doing drugs in the jungle. So I have to go inside the bush, inside the jungle, to find him, to take him out from his friends, which is like a big community inside the jungle. So I have to go into that jungle to find him and take him out. And we took him and we take care of him, and until he got rehabbed and sober for a while. And he got married for the second time, and he became a better person after that. He passed away in 2016. So that's
So he
he passed away.
Oh, so he just passed away.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I didn't know that. I didn't know that he just passed away.
4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So it was a tragic ending for us. I mean, like we tried to save him. It's not that he haven't tried to become sober. He haven't tried to become drug-free. He tried, but because of the temptations from the society with the the pressure from the society, you know, not giving jobs, not giving opportunities, not giving chances to these people who are already out from the drugs. So they wanted to become a good person, but then they've been pressured, you know, they see his record saying that, hey, this guy is a drug addict, so we cannot accept him to work in this company or whatever. So they blacklisted the people like the drug user. They blacklisted it, so they criminalize it. So they criminalize this person, so this person could not get a job, could not get a better life because of this pressure from society. So I really oppose this kind of attitude towards the drug user, towards the ex-convict. So we try to decriminalize the ex-user and ex-convict right now at the moment.
Right, because it sounds like what you're trying to do is trying to find a way to break that cycle for people. Right?
Yes,
there's a cycle and there's a system, and the system is unfair to these people who have.
Yeah, it's a stigma.
Right, there's a stigma.
Yeah, stigma.
And people it just, you know, people in the government or people in society don't seem to understand that this is like a mental health issue. You can't criminalize a mental health situation. Like, they get addicted to something. The way the society should come together to help that person and bring them back out of it, instead of like pushing them further and further away into the dark, right?
Yes, that's true. That's what I'm trying to do at the moment, because I used to like only do drug education and drug awareness. So now I'm digging into decriminalization of drug user, you know, after I see what happened to my brother.
Right.
So this is the problem that we're facing right now. I'm facing right now. I wanted to, you know, voice out to say to the people, hey, you know, come accept this. This is a human being. Yeah, like you said, it's a mental health issues. It's not a drug addiction issues anymore. It's about mental health.
Yeah. I mean, I think, and everything that you just said is so powerful, because you've had a personal experience, right? You had a personal situation where you saw how crippling addiction can be. Like your brother selling your all the materials and things in your house, so you had nothing left. So for you, you saw it firsthand. So, I mean, of course, after I'm listening to your story and how passionate you are right now, I can see in your face that that is probably the main reason why you started going into the path of straight edge life, the straight edge culture. And then how you went bigger than just singing about it. You actually went and did something about it by starting Drug Free Malaysia. I mean, to me, like when I first heard you doing that, I was like, of course he's going to do it. He's like, this guy's like my hero. Of course he's going to take something that he's singing about, writing lyrics about, and be like, okay, you know what? Singing and writing lyrics is not enough. I need to go do things. So can you tell everybody about how Drug Free Malaysia came across?
I believe in walk the walk and talk the talk. So it was implied in the hardcore scene. So lots of bands on that era were only writing lyrics and singing about it, but they did not take action. I wanted to be the first person or be the first band who, you know, prove that the lyrics can be a reality, that we can show to the people that the lyrics that we write can be, you know, implemented in the society. So I did that, and that's why I came across the Drug Free Malaysia. So I say that I can do that. I can do this. You know, I'm not saying it. I'm not trying to bullshit. I choose to become straight edge by that time, and because I see that I can do this. I can do it, and I can change my brother. I can change my friends. I can change my community. I can change society through Drug Free Youth. I started to choose to become drug free when I was working in a bar. So I was the waiter before. I worked in a bar. I drink a lot of, I drink. Before that, I was not sober. I was not straight edge. I was punk rock, and I was wasted. And but I did not blame other people a lot, because I have my personal issues. Why I wanted to become straight edge, or why I wanted to become drug free. And I saw something bad happening in the bar. People are exchanging drugs, you know, people with uniform, police uniform, you know, working together with the mafia inside the bar. So I saw they trading drugs and stuff, and I know some of the cops there, and I saw that ugly thing, and I saw that disgusting for me, and I say that, oh, this is not right. Since I was like reading a lot of fanzines, you know, all the fanzines were about changing the system, you know, no corruptions, no discrimination and stuff like that. So it relates back to what I read. So I took it as my guideline, you know, my guideline. So I say that, hey, what you do is wrong to me, to my eyes. So it's in my eyes, like the minor track would say.
Yeah.
So it was in front of my eyes. I say that's enough. No, I'm not going to be part of you anymore. I'm not going to be part of this system, which is cycle around this bullshit. After that incident, I wanted to become straight edge. So I choose to become straight edge. So it was like 99 or something, 96 or 97 before we become straight edge in 1999, the fully band. So I quit the job as a waiter, and I also declared I wanted to quit smoking, and I wanted to quit drugs. So I wanted to clean my hand, because when I saw that, I think about my brother, my friends. So it was like, you know, clouding into my head, saying that, oh, this is, you know, it's going to be bad in our community, in our society.
So in the bar that you were working at, they were dealing drugs right in front of you, right?
Yeah, they were in uniform. So
wow.
Police uniform. So when I think about supporting drugs, you know, when I smoke what we call drugs, or, you know, cocaine or heroin, I am supporting this cycle, this community, this system. I am supporting that. So I did not want to support a system which is criminalized or corrupted and exploited our society, our people. So I did not want to be part of that. I saw it in my own eyes. You know, a fisherman which is very, very poor, hooked on drugs and trying to sell the daughter to other people because he wanted the money to buy drugs. I saw it in my own eyes, and I saved and I rescued the little girl, 4 years old. I rescued that girl and I put it in the welfare. And from that incident, said I wanted to fight. I wanted to be, you know, to go deep into it. And try to inform everyone, this is bad, man. You are supporting a big a big industry which doesn't care about our health, about our community, about our system, and about our life. It doesn't care.
It's like what you say. You're like, this industry preys on the poor, right? Yeah. It goes and attacks the poor. It exploits the poor, and then it gets them hooked. And then those poor people, again, like you're saying, there's just that never-ending poverty cycle, right? They'll just keep wasting money buying this, and they'll never get out of the cycle, never be able to raise their status or take care of their family because of stuff like this, right? And so you're saying is like, let's try to destroy this industry, destroy the system, right?
All these drug dealers, they manipulate the people, saying that, oh, this is good for your health, this is good for you can work long hours and you can get more money, or you can be part of it and be a drug dealer and you can get more money. So this is the lies that they tell the poor people to be part of the to the business, you know, to the business cycle of the drug.
Right.
It's a big problem right now. It's like, oh, I am very, very worried, and I'm very scared because it will get into my families, my friends again. So these things will happen, and so I will not stop, and I will not give up to give the message to outside people, especially my community. You know, not to become part of the system.
So with your drug-free Malaysia, like when you started doing it, I remember that you were going to schools a lot, right? Like that was one of the most brilliant things I saw you do was you're transitioning from just talking about it on stage to actually doing something about it. and then you started going to schools, and you started doing more talks and workshops. When you were transitioning into schools and to talks and workshops, was it easy to transition, or was it really challenging to talk to like a audience of like 6-year-old kids and stuff, you know?
Because I believe my experience will help them to improve or to change their life. Because I used to work in the corporates before I was into Drug Free Malaysia. I worked in a bank. I was a consultant to loans and to do whatever. So I was a good talker for a bank marketer. So I just like, hey, come on, take the loan. You can settle this thing. You can share the credit card and stuff. Get a free giver. So I was like good into that. I get a lot of money. I get a good salary also. But then I take what we call a decision to stop working in a bank, and I choose to work in an NGO because I'm tired of working in a bank, working 9 to 5, people telling me what to do. And I say that okay, I'm going to move on, and I actually tried work in a consultant or become for education consultant for this company. And then after that, I saw that was really good for me. So I think I can do this. And I learned a few tricks on how to get students into the college, and I give them a free education. So I get a loan from the government.
You sponsor the kids like education, you mean?
Yeah, sponsor the kids for education. So he studied for free.
Wow.
And then so I see that this is good. So I can do this. And I started to register my own NGO, and I put my 100% on that. So I quit the job, and I got my experience from the bank, from the college, and before that I was into barista. So when I met you, I was working in a barista.
I know, I remember that. Yeah, KLCC.
Yeah, I bring you to drink my coffee, right?
Yeah, dude, it was good coffee.
It was good coffee. Supervisor. Yeah, I was a supervisor at the coffee shop, and then after that I work in the bank, and then I work in the institution.
So transition from being a banker, from having a little bit of experience with education and really changing someone's life, right? Because you were able to sponsor this kid's education. Then how did you get into the schools and the workshops and stuff?
Yeah, and I seek advice from the education minister and also from the government, and how I wanted to go into school. He said that you must register an NGO, so and then we will get you into school. And then I really do it. I register an NGO. I do it properly. I call up a few friends to be part of the members. And because to register an NGO, you have to have this certain amount of member to have this registration legit. My first year was it was troublesome because I don't have any money, so I just quit my job, and there's no money in my pocket. And
at that time, you were married and you already had children too, right?
No, I was not married yet.
Okay.
I was not married yet, and so I think I managed to do it because I don't have any commitment at the moment at that time, and I was able to do it.
Yeah.
And so I went to a few schools, and I compiled it, and I started to find sponsors. It became easier for me, so I have my own building, I have my own transport, I have my own van, so everything was covered. Yeah.
You are an amazing individual. I cannot believe this guy that grew up like in I mean, not to make fun of it, but like it's such an important thing to discuss, is that with your life and your experiences when you were growing up and all the madness that you were seeing, you could have chosen that road also, right? You could have ended up in the same direction as your brother.
I was about
something. And like something about you and something about hardcore and punk rock, because I can hear from what you just said, there was some ethics from punk rock and some ideals of punk rock that you really took into your heart. Yes. And so when you saw the stuff in the bar, you're like, dude, this is not the right thing to do. This is just not the right way to be a human being. And so it's so cool to me that you were able to, in your brain, that young, like a 16-year-old, 17-year-old, watching what was going on and be like, you know what? I don't want to have anything to do with this. I'm going to try to find my own path that helps other people, that I will use my energy, use my voice, use my platform to help other people. I mean, and you're still doing it now, bro. How old are you now?
I am 42 now.
Dude, seriously, man, that's like over 20, what, like almost 30 years of your life you've been giving and taking care of other people, bro. You are my hero, my friend.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that's what hardcore teach me. It teach me about compassion, giving to people, helping other people. That's what hardcore teach me. So that's what I listen to. That's what I was inspired by this kind of bands, which is, wanted to change something. So when Youth of Today say that make a change, so I was really believing that. I believe in what Youth of Today is saying. I really believe what Minor Threat was saying. I believe in that. In the 90s, all the band or the hardcore band were like saying like every band were moving into something, wanted to change something. Like all the European hardcore straight edge band were singing political things, singing about changing the community, changing your mindset, changing, go out there and help the people, help the homeless, help the environment, become vegan or a vegetarian or stuff like that. So that is a message which is, I grab, I took into my heart. I took the message out. It took the message into me. So I use it that as my direction, as my, way of life.
Yeah, it's so almost like
this system say that.
Yeah, like it's almost like you took it as a template, right? It's like a template for your life. This is how you're supposed to live your life. But it's so funny to hear you say that, because that's the same hardcore that changed my life. Was when I picked up I remember, because I grew up as a metalhead. Right. So I grew up as a metalhead, and all the lyrics, like Slayer lyrics, are all about death and war and destruction. And I thought the lyrics were cool, but it never touched my heart. It didn't make me want to do something. And I remember reading those lyrics, like you're saying, like the Minor Threat, Sick of It All lyrics, all these lyrics that are about, listen, you can just be part of the system, or you can change the system. Right. And that's what I took away with me as well. And I think just like you, to this day, like you're 40 something, I'm 40 something. And even now we still do it, right? We still try to use our energy, our life, our time, our money to do what's right for other people. I mean, that's why I'm doing this podcast. That's why I'm doing the Unite Asia website. That's why you're still doing Drug Free Malaysia, is because you know what? I'm like, this is what we know.
Okay.
And look, bro, look what I have in my hands.
Oh my God. Wow.
Look at this shirt. I still have it. I think this is a shirt where when King Lychee came in 2003 or 2004 at Blue Planet, that's the very first time I met you face to face. It was the first time I saw Second Combat. And I'm honestly, it was the very first time I saw the power and the passion of the Southeast Asian scene. Like I cannot explain to you, that night changed my life. That night and what I experienced in Kuala Lumpur, my whole band, all the guys in King Lychee, like after that night, we were just like, our music sucks. We've got to get better. We've got to do more. Like, I remember when Second Combat got on stage, when you guys were playing, you first started with a Beyond cover. Remember that?
Yeah. My guitarists were really into Beyond. So,
it was so funny. So you did a Beyond cover.
We like the song.
Yeah, and you were just smiling, and you were just so kind, just so everyone in that show was just so, I was so blown away on so many emotional levels. But the thing I remember when you guys played that really blew me away was you had a way to bring all the audience. There were punks, there were metalheads, there were hardcore kids, there were girls in hijabs. You had everyone came together, their finger pointing, and they were screaming louder than you, bro. It was like I'm getting goosebumps now remembering that night. So like Second Combat to me really is such an important band. Of course, in Malaysia, it's got to be an important band. So just to wrap up this interview, I know we've talked about a lot of great things, about Drug Free Malaysia, all the great things you're still doing, your life and what led you to where you are. Let's wrap up this interview with like what's going on with Second Combat.
Second Combat right now we're in hiatus because we all having a family, so everyone have a kid right now growing up. So everyone wanted to have a rest a little bit, trying to figure out something in the future for Second Combat. But we still meet up. We still meet up and we talk about the band and we talk about what's our next plan and stuff. So we say that. So this year is not our year. So we take a rest first, and then probably next year we will start to write songs. Right now we are writing songs. We have a song, but we haven't got it recorded yet. I actually miss the scene. I miss being on a hardcore stage. Screaming my heart out.
Yeah.
Singing along with everyone. So I miss that. So yeah, at the moment, Second Combat will come back. We will come back and we will do something for the scene. That's about it, lah. So
hell yeah, man! You gotta bring it back. I think it's time, right? It's time for that type of hardcore to come back. But I mean, there's also, hardcore is always like, there's so many different ways to look at hardcore, right? So some of the more heavier, mosh heavy, there's space for that, and then there's still space for the stuff that you want to do as well. The one, the more message oriented. It's okay, man. We can all coexist, right?
I wanted to, say something about Awit, Pali. All my bassist Awit, my Pali, my drummer Pali. They all have other bands. They all are living their life, having a family. But we all wanted to focus on Second Combat after we get this rest, and wanted to move on and getting active back. So our guitarist is also Ja'a. The previous band is with 11, now is with us. So I think we're going to do a good music after this, which is we try to get into new songs and hopefully people will like it.
Of course, man. It's Second Combat. Who's not going to like Second Combat? All right. And thank you so much for your time. This was such an honor. This was such a pleasure to hear your story and to be our very first guest of Unite Asia podcast. You're amazing, bro. You're amazing. Keep it up. You've got me to support you forever. You've got your friends, your family, the entire country of Malaysia. And hopefully after this podcast, more people around the world will continue to support you, man. Good luck with everything.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Riz. All right. And good luck to you too, Unite Asia.
So that's it, everybody. That was the very first episode of the Unite Asia podcast. Thank you so much for watching and listening. If there are any mistakes, please forgive me. This is the very first time I've done it. I had a lot of fun doing it. I will definitely read through all the comments below. So down below, please put all your comments down, suggestions, tips, whatever it is. Also, if there are any other pieces of news that you feel like I've missed on both the Unite Asia website and in this podcast, let me know below. Definitely just hit the comments and start typing away. Email me, get onto the Unite Asia website, click submit news. All the information there of how to submit news to us is step by step. It's so easy. Please, if you are a band that wants their information to get out to more people than your own little circle of friends or your own community or your own scene, use the website. Please use the website. Please help me make this website as resourceful as possible. I also want to take this moment to shout out some amazing other podcasts from Asia. One, for example, is Horns Up Podcast from India, run by two amazing dudes. They recently did an interview with an amazing band from India called Heathen Beast. You got to check it out. So definitely check out the Horns Up Podcast. We'll make sure the link is below. Another one is Metalhead Politics by Freddie of Chthonic in Taiwan, and their podcast is phenomenal. He's already got 3 episodes up. It's all in English, and you could just check out the amazing content that he is brave enough and willing to talk and discuss. He talks about Hong Kong and a bunch of other political things. That's a great one. The Big Talk, my dude Big out of Malaysia, he's been running a video podcast for a long time, and he kills it. He mixes a lot of English and a lot of Malay in there, but he's just so much fun to watch, and he's so professional. Definitely check that out. It's called it's called The Big Talk. Of course, I've already said The Love Life of an Asian Guy. You should definitely check that out. My friend Joey out of the Philippines has been running a podcast, and actually he's like a podcast pro. So he's actually running 2 simultaneously. He's running Behind the Song and Behind the Stage. The link will be below, so definitely check that out. There's this dude, it's an American dude, that's been running a podcast called Beast from the East, where he interviews a bunch of Korean and Japanese bands. Definitely check that out. Last but not least, another one from India that's no longer, it's this awesome podcast called Haramkhor. The name is hilarious. So if you speak Hindi or Urdu, Haramkhor is just such a great name. That podcast is not around anymore, but their old episodes are up, and it's just awesome. It's just such a great podcast to listen to. And they also interview a bunch of great people from around India, so you get to also hear stories from their the projects and the bands and the videos that they've been working on. You get to hear about all of that. I know I'm missing a lot. Again, in the comments, hit me up, man. Let me know what podcasts you're listening to, specifically that are from Asia, featuring Asian bands. All right. I'm already working and thinking about episode 2. See you next week. Peace.
You can walk the true. You can walk with me through.